And now the next fight I'm going to be talking about is Aleksei Oleinik versus Jared Vanderaa. I did talk about this fight a few days ago, actually, just when it was first announced, because Aleksei Oleinik was meant to fight Ilir Latifi. He was meant to fight him a couple of weeks ago, and then Ilir Latifi pulled out, and they rescheduled it for UFC 273. And now they're meant to fight here, but Ilir Latifi's pulled out again. So we've got Jared Vanderaa, the man you can trust to step on short notice. He stepped in on short notice to fight Alexander Romanov, and prior to that, though, he did fight Justin Tafa and beat him by decision, which I can kind of respect. I do think that's a pretty good win, just because I do like Justin Tafa. He's from my area of the world, you gotta trust that. But Aleksei Oleinik, though, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He is almost 45 years old, but the level of competition he's been fighting is pretty high level, and I do think that he's really looking for that 60th win, and I do think that Jared Vanderaa is going to be that guy to give him the 60th win, and potentially on a 60th win at 45, Aleksei Oleinik could be looking to hang up the gloves. One thing I am going to be noting, though, is there's going to be a big size disadvantage for Oleinik in this one. He's going to be weighing in about 230 pounds or so. Jared Vanderaa, it seems like he might even be cutting to make 265 pounds. He's a massive guy. He's 6'4" with an 80-inch reach, but he also does have decent cardio as well. That's sort of the thing with Jared Vanderaa. He doesn't really have the greatest striking in the world. He doesn't really have the greatest grappling in the world, but he does have pretty decent cardio for a heavyweight, really. And I do think as soon as Aleksei Oleinik gets the takedown, I think that Jared Vanderaa, I don't think he's going to be able to put up with Aleksei Oleinik on the ground. Aleksei Oleinik has 46 submission victories, and he's also got 2 Ezekiel chokes inside the UFC, and I think there's only ever been 3 of those happen inside the UFC, so that's pretty good. In his last fight, he fought Sergey Spivak. He didn't look incredible, but he didn't look like too bad either. I think they actually have a very similar opponent here. Sergey Spivak destroyed Jared Vanderaa, and a 45-year-old, 44-year-old Aleksei Oleinik managed to hang in there with a younger Sergey Spivak, so you can respect that. Prior to that, he did get knocked out by Chris Dalkaus, who is now a top 10 heavyweight. I think he's still a top 10 heavyweight, and then he lost to Derek Lewis, who is like a top 5, top 10 heavyweight right now, so that's not a bad loss to have, really. And prior to that, he submitted Maurice Green and beat Fabricio Verdum. So I think it's about time Aleksei Oleinik gets a win. I do think Jared Vanderaa is the kind of guy to give him the win here. But Jared Vanderaa is going to be game. I just don't think he's going to be able to put up with the ground game of Aleksei Oleinik. And even on the feet, Aleksei Oleinik didn't really look too lost with Sergey Spivak, but we all know that Sergey Spivak's striking isn't really the greatest in the world either. So I'm going to pick in Oleinik by submission here. I think he's probably going to get that submission in the first or the second round. I think as soon as he gets the takedown, he's going to be looking for it. And I think we're going to see Oleinik get his 60th win, so good for him. And looking forward to this fight as well, to be honest. I think it's actually a more exciting fight than the Latifi fight. There might be a controversial opinion, but that's genuinely how I see it. So good for Vanderaa, man. Good for him. I do think that he could potentially be fighting for his job here. He did beat Harry Hunsucker in the Contender Series, but now he's gone 1-3 in the UFC. I think if he goes 1-4, even on a short notice, I don't think it's going to be the best look for him. I think maybe the UFC would give him one more shot, but unfortunately, just fighting on short notice and losing is probably not really enough to keep you in the UFC. So Jared Vanderaa definitely looking for a win here, but I'm trusting Aleksei Oleinik to use his ground game to get the submission.